Time now for that morning rush. This morning, President Trump likely sifting through a list of 25 names to replace Supreme Court Justice Anthony Kennedy. Kennedy announcing he will retire at the end of July.
We have to pick a great one. We have to pick one that's going to be there for 40 years, 45 years. We need
Trump says a search for Kennedy's replacement will start immediately, adding his pick will be someone who is pro-life and gives the president an opportunity to reshape the nation's highest court for decades to come. However, Democrats want to hold off on confirming the appointment at least until after the November election. Another big talker this morning, the House failed to pass a compromise immigration bill. It's not likely that they will take up another bill anytime soon as they head into a week-long recess. The bill, which would have ended family separation at the border, failed by a larger margin than expected. It was also set to fund border security and put in place a permanent solution for DACA. We'll stay on top of this story for you. Also new this morning, former Fox News co-president Bill Shine has accepted a senior position within the Trump administration. The details of Shine's hiring still being finalized, but as CNN does report, he is not expected to become the communications director, rather the deputy chief of staff in charge of communications. The White House has not officially announced his hiring. Kristen.
Mostly sunny skies over the state today. We'll keep an eye on the Sacramento Mountains and areas along and east of the Sangre de Cristos for a few spotty thunderstorms in the mix today. Southern and eastern New Mexico favored for more of those spotty storms on Friday. Albuquerque just likely to see the sunshine. Crystal?
This morning, one West Side neighborhood still on edge, worried about a home lined with dead trees as the 4th of July holiday approaches. The front yard of the home on Taylor Ranch lined with tall dead trees. Neighbors are worried any spark could ignite the block. Some are offering to pay to cut them down, but the homeowners refusing. The city's planning department and Albuquerque Fire and Rescue say it's not a code violation. We're still waiting for word from the Clovis school board member who's caught on surveillance camera appearing to touch a woman's rear end. This video from inside a concession stand shows an electrician, Kyle Snyder, walk in, talk with employees before he approaches a woman, grabs her arm, and appears to slap her buttocks. Snyder was there to fix an electrical problem. He's now charged with 2 counts of petty misdemeanor battery. New details for you. The 2 men charged in a triple murder in northern New Mexico waking up in jail. That's where they will stay after a recent ruling by a judge. John Powell and Roger Gage are suspected of killing Abraham Martinez, Kieran Gilman, and April Brown at a Dixon home late last month. Police say all 3 victims died from gunshot wounds to the head. As the case moves forward against the suspects accused in the murder of a mail carrier, Marilyn Gandert, her memory is being honored. She has been posthumously awarded the Good Neighbor Award by the North Valley Neighborhood Association. Gandert's co-workers accepted the award on her behalf. They say they'll place it at the post office in her memory. 3 people now charged with Gandert's murder. That does include her own grandson. Albuquerque residents now have a new location to help pets find their forever homes. The Albuquerque Animal Welfare Department has partnered with PetSmart Charities Everyday Adoption Center. The new adoption center is inside one of the PetSmart along Eubank. It houses 14 dogs, 6 cats, 6 to 12 cats, I should say. Officials say the adoption center is different from the shelter in that it's a much more quiet, intimate place to get to know your potential new pet. The new facility is all thanks to a $60,000 grant awarded to them by PetSmart. The New Mexico Wildlife Rehabilitation Center warning people about rescuing deer fawn. This after the center took in 3 fawns on the same day. 2 were brought there after their mother died. The other after someone thought it was abandoned. The center's working to get the deer back in the wild. They do rely on donations, though. There's more information on how you can help them out. Go to alwaysonkRQE.com. Kristen.
Today's Metro Threat Index up to a 4 because of those hot temperatures. Albuquerque high about 100 degrees, lots of sun, no storm chances, and winds less than 15 miles per hour. Crystal?
Albuquerque setting the wheels in motion today on a new plan to get the homeless into better living arrangements. The program, made possible by a more than $1 million grant, will help nearly 50 homeless households into transitional housing. It also sets aside an additional vouchers to help people move from supportive to permanent housing. APD says it is bringing on 3 more Motors Unit officers specifically tasked to look for traffic violations like turning right on red at intersections where it's not allowed. Police will also be looking for people running red lights, saying there are some places where it does happen quite often. Kristen.
Time now for a check on your traffic. We do have an incident at Manal and Prospect Avenue, one of the surface streets, but the interstate seemed to be moving smoothly. Also, we've got our news tracker out and about this morning right there at Coors. You can see stopped at a stoplight. No major problems at the hour. We'll keep eyes on that for you.
Happening today, UNM students will likely flock to the Student Union building, also known as a sub, to watch the latest World Cup match. This year, the university decided to stream every game. With nearly 1,600 international students, it can help them feel right at home. And as summer class attendance does seem light, teachers don't have to look too hard, to find where their students may be. They're probably at the sub. There are more places around town to get your World Cup fix, so watch parties still taking place in Civic Plaza. The next watch party happening today at noon with England taking on Belgium. The watch parties will wrap up with the final match. That's July 15th. For details, go to alwayson.krqe.com. Time for the 5 facts.
We start with number 5. Take a look at this story getting a lot of attention online this morning. That goat right there lives in Farmington, and it's getting a reputation as quite the escape artist. An officer on patrol Sunday night found the goat walking around 20th Street in Western. The officer scooped him up and took him to the animal shelter. Turns out the goat is a habitual offender. After he was picked up by his owner, he escaped again, was back at the shelter before being bailed out and taken home a second time.
They need to get hoof prints on him. Number 4, as 4th of July nears, people in one West Side neighborhood are still concerned about a home lined with trees, saying if it does spark, a fire could quickly spread. The front yard of the home on Taylor Ranch lined with tall dead trees. Some neighbors are offering to pay to cut them down, but the homeowner's refusing. The city's planning department says they don't regulate residential landscaping and that it's not a code violation. Albuquerque Fire and Rescue says the yard does not violate fire code either.
At number 3, hot temperatures return to the area. Today is likely to be the hottest day of the next 4 to 5. You'll notice about a 4 to 5 degree cool off tomorrow, leaves us in the mid-90s. A stray storm possible here in Albuquerque on Friday. Winds look to stay light. We'll continue with the sunshine and those unseasonably warm temperatures for the weekends.
On to number 2 now this morning as a case moves forward against the suspects accused in the murder of mail carrier Marilyn Gandert. Her memory is being honored by her neighbors. Gandert has been posthumously awarded the Good Neighbor Award by the North Valley Neighborhood Association. Gandert's co-workers accepted the award on her behalf. They say they'll place it at the post office in her memory. 3 people now charged with Gandert's murder. That does include her own grandson. On to number 1. This morning, the Trump administration likely sifting through a list of 25 names to replace Supreme Court Justice Anthony Kennedy. Kennedy, who was often the swing vote in many big decisions, announced he will retire at the end of July. While Congress waits for the president to name his pick, U.S. lawmakers are arguing once again as to when they should vote on a confirmation, since the November election is right around the corner. Both Democratic U.S. senators representing our state say they should wait to see what Congress will look like this fall. The lone Republican U.S. lawmaker for our state, Steve Pierce, has yet to react to the timeline debate, only thanking Kennedy for his service.